The biggest hypnotists in this world are mothers and fathers. A teacher looked at me and said, "You stupid boy, you'll never be able to spell." Everybody influences with their speech everybody else. So everybody, I'm sorry to say, is a hypnotist. The first thing is to realise is that you can't use hypnosis to make somebody do something they don't want to do. I had this girl who was anorexic and bulimic. The mental health team that she was under couldn't do anything with her. I only saw her once, and that girl ate with us.
How do you create that in another person? It's a great privilege and honor to have at this podcast episode with us Phillip Holt, one of the greatest hypnotists in the UK and around the world. Phillip, thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
So you've been teaching and performing and doing hypnosis for many, many years. So why is it that people are still afraid of hypnosis?
They're still afraid of hypnosis for the simple reason of the media, because it's good to have sensationalism, and they have the knowledge from way back where they think that the Manchurian Candidate film is the truth, and that you can make people act like chickens or monkeys on the stage if it's a stage show, or that the person who's the guide, I'm going to say guide rather than hypnotist, but hypnotist, has control over them. And that's been brought up from cartoons, the Jungle Book, the film, and the snake hypnotizes. Oh, come on. That's where it's all come from. And that's deep ingrained into their consciousness, subconsciousness. So the first job of a hypnotist is to ease them over that hurdle, to remove that barrier. But their belief to say, well, hypnosis is a natural thing. They do it every day as they're watching television. They go into a trance.
So as people experience different trances every day, some of the trances they experience are good for them, some may not be so good. How can they switch from one trance, which is maybe a negative state trance, to a more positive one?
When a person is in a trance, in a hypnotic trance or whatever, they know what's going on. They have not lost control. They have not lost their brain. They're still conscious of what they're thinking. And it's up to them to say, "Hey, I've had enough of this. I don't want this negativity. I'll do something about it." And so when they're in that trance and they suddenly realize that they're in a negative frame of thinking or trance, they do something about it and say, "Okay, let's take another direction." They're in control of themselves. Nobody else is. They are in control of themselves. So they can change just like that, change the thoughts.
Some people perceive hypnosis as a tool that only medical doctors or psychologists, psychiatrists can learn. At the same time, when I learned first hypnosis and then started teaching hypnosis to others, I realized that it would be of a great benefit to me if I would have learned these skills much earlier. And I believe that kids in school should be learning certain degree of hypnosis. What do you think about that?
there's every possibility that they should learn it. There's no reason why they shouldn't learn it. Self-hypnosis. If they understood what hypnosis is and everything about hypnosis, then the myth of it's being dangerous, and it's not dangerous. It's not dangerous. It's been proven in court in the UK, it's been proven in the UK that it's not dangerous. It's not manipulative. Governments, military, they've all tried to use it. The CIA have tried to use it for negative purposes. It hasn't worked. So that's it. But the biggest hypnotists in this world are mothers. They hypnotise the kids and fathers. They hypnotise the kids when they're telling them stories. They're painting pictures in their mind. And what do parents do when they send the children to bed? They read them stories. Oh, and go to sleep now. And they and they go to sleep. So there you go.
At the same time, you're speaking about parents being hypnotists. We know that many parents give negative suggestions, negative comments to their kids. And there was an example that happened to one of my students who met a homeless person, and that homeless person told him that when he was a child, his father told him many times, if you're not going to learn, you will end up in a street, homeless. And today,
that's where he is.
He is there. Yes. So how can people get rid of negative suggestions or negative hypnosis that happened to them when they were children?
First thing is to recognize that there is that negative thought there, and then to talk to it. Think about those thoughts as being another person inside the brain. It could be a little person. There's a good person in the brain and a bad person in the brain. Just when you know there's negativity in there, just get that good person in the brain to look to the negative thinking part of the brain and say, "Oi, shut up. I've had enough of you. Now, just shut up. I am in control now, not you. I know what you're trying to do. I don't want this anymore." So they are in control of themselves, but they've got to learn to do it. They're allowing that negative. I'm painting a picture of a person in the brain, that negative person taking the control of the brain. Take control of it. Tell it to go away on holiday. I don't want you anymore. And the more that you do it, the more that it'll get the message. And then you can start doing that. Now, sometimes you will need somebody to help you. Seek that help. Seek that help. It doesn't need to be necessarily a qualified doctor, because hypnosis is not anything special. As I said, mothers, fathers are hypnotists. Teachers are hypnotists. When I was a young boy, I couldn't spell. Perhaps I got dyslexia. I've got no idea. I haven't tested myself. I'm not interested. But I decided at the age of 5, I realised I couldn't spell, so I got a dictionary, and I started letter A, and I started learning each word in sequence. A teacher saw me what I was doing and said, "Holt, what are you doing?" And I said, "Sir, I'm learning how to spell." And he looked at me and said, "You stupid boy, you'll never be able to spell." And to this day, I have a fear of spelling. And yet I have written so many articles. I'm writing books. I don't let it stand in my way. But perhaps I've got dyslexia. That's not going to stop in my way. I don't know if I've got dyslexia or not. It doesn't stand in my way. Get on with life.
I mean, I love this idea that even though we have some negative suggestions or fears, beliefs that were hypnotized into our brain when we were in our childhood or earlier stages in our life, we can still do many different things. So how did you overcome that fear, or how did you manage to, in spite of that fear, still write articles, write books, and so on?
Because I've got a strategy. If I don't know how to spell something, this is why I think I might have dyslexia, is that if I come across a word that I don't know how to spell, what am I going to do? I'll go on the computer and I find out how to spell it correctly. Or I speak it out to the computer. Thank you very much. Word for Windows or whatever it is. I've got Apple, so it isn't Word for Windows. But I get round it. Or I sit down and just relax and let it come to me. It's okay. And everybody has got a spell checker on the computer or the phone. The only trouble is we've got predictive spelling on the phones, and we know what that means. Sometimes we type in a message and we don't read it through before we send, and oh boy, do we get a mistake. But really, are we hypnotized? Yeah, we're hypnotized all the time. People, it's a natural phenomenon, hypnosis. Really, those that are trained to use it and understand it can be using hypnosis and use the term hypnosis. But everybody influences with their speech everybody else. So everybody, I'm sorry to say, is a hypnotist. All that we're doing is that to have the title of hypnotist is that you've been through a course, and then you can use the word hypnotist. But I'm sorry, mommies and daddies are hypnotists. Teachers, doctors, policemen are all hypnotists. They use language to influence other people. Influence, guide, change somebody's belief system. Priests, I'm sorry, that we're all hypnotists.
Since we are all hypnotists, how come some people use words or influence others in ways that are not helpful or are not serving the other person?
Because they're that type of person. That's their personality. They don't realise it. There's lots of people that want to influence people in a bad way. Are you going to stop them? If you understand what they're trying to do, then shut your ears to what they're saying to you and don't accept what they're saying. You've got the individuals, you've got the choice of accepting what people say to you, what the broadcasting companies are giving you, what the newspapers are writing. You've got the control, as anybody under hypnosis has got the control to say, I accept that or I don't accept it. And the trouble is, too many people go onto the computers and accept whatever's been fed to them. So some people are just manipulative in this life, and they do it on purpose. They do it on purpose. So
how do you prevent talking to those people and recognizing, oh my God, this is a hypnotic suggestion or a command that is not serving me. I'm not accepting it.
It's not a hypnotic command, it's a suggestion. That's all. Any hypnotist, be it on stage, be it in therapy, they make a suggestion. And that's all they're doing. It's up to the person to accept that suggestion or not. They are still in control of themselves. Okay, if a person says something, there's a memory trace being laid down in the brain. And it's there. And in my mind, it's there forever. And can be accessed at any time. So if somebody says something, there's a memory trace. Was it planted hypnotically? No, it's just planted with a suggestion. Now, if I was to hypnotize you, and I made a suggestion that you would be a monkey and act as a monkey in here or in a restaurant, you'd look at me and you'd say, Phillip, get lost. Go away. I'm not going to do a thing like that. You have choice. But the great thing about what we do with hypnosis, and especially with NLP, neuro-linguistic program, which is obviously tied together, they're very, very tied in together, is that you give people choice. So the more choice you give people, the more chances of being able to act in an appropriate way that they would want to do in this world.
You're speaking about hypnosis as a tool that can be helpful. And during my time teaching hypnosis to different people from so many different professions, I realized there are some miracles that happened. When people saying, for example, that they had been cured from cancer, or they had some fear of flying and that fear is completely gone, and so on. How do you perceive those miracles or those changes?
I don't call them miracles at all. What we're giving them is, if somebody's got a fear of flying, for example, maybe just thinking about it, flying, will strike off a phobia. Going to the airport could be a phobia. Going on the airplane, the trigger, in our term we call it anchors, will fire off and a memory will come back. The strongest memory will come back. Now, I am totally convinced that you'll never remove a memory trace. So if you learn something, it'll always be there and it will be accessible. Okay, probably not with dementia and Alzheimer's disease. That is a physical change in the body. But I believe that any memory is available to be retrieved. A person who needs help, all you need to do is to put a stronger memory in there, that when that trigger, that anchor is fired off, the stronger memory trace will fire off and the old one will be dismissed. And that is what I believe happens. Or there's a gateway, if you like, that is opened to say, go this way instead of going that way. The old phobia or the new way of thinking where there's no phobia involved. So put in a stronger memory. And that memory, when the anchor fires off, that trigger, when they go to the airport, a great feeling happens. A good memory happens of a great holiday. And you can remove, there's more to it, obviously, but it's as easy as that. Take away certain aspects of the old memory trace, put in new ones which will flow, a new memory. And the phobia will go, yeah, it's so simple. You don't need to go to therapy for the rest of your life to get rid of a phobia. It can be done quickly, in 5 minutes, 2 seconds, if the person knows what they're doing. Is that hypnosis? Of course it is. But not the official hypnosis, look into my eyes and you swing a watch. No, that isn't. It's just communicating, taking people on another journey. That's all hypnosis is. So unfortunately, there are going to be negative people who are intent on putting negative thoughts into people and negative ideas. And that's happening in this world today by certain people. And we know who those are in a high position. I'm not going to mention names because I'm not going to be political, but they put in negative thoughts and ideas into people's heads. Come on. Are they hypnotizing us? Not officially hypnosis, but they're altering people's thoughts, putting new memory traces, putting new beliefs into their heads. It's not officially hypnosis, but it's exactly the same.
As a hypnotist, you have helped many people all over the world. What are some changes that you have observed while doing this? So, for example, people getting over fears or phobias. What else?
I was talking over lunch to a group of people that wanted to pick my brain. They paid for my meal, so it cost them a lot of money. But the thing is that I had this girl who was anorexic and bulimic. In other words, she wouldn't eat, but then on top of that, she was bulimic, which means she would make herself sick afterwards. And she wouldn't leave her home. The mental health team that she was under couldn't do anything with her. And they kept on seeing her week after week after week. She carried on. The mother heard about what people can do, and I was sent in there to help her. I only saw her once, but I arranged for a tea party with the mother. And I worked with her, and I saw what I thought were the problems. I worked with them and worked with the girl. And when I knew that she was ready and that the triggers that stopped her eating, the triggers that made her want to be sick, the triggers that said, no, I can't go outside the front door, had been not erased, but changed. A new way of doing things had been put in place. I said to the mother, I'm getting a bit hungry. She said, I thought you were. You'll be getting hungry. I've made some sandwiches and some cake for you. I said, oh, good, good. And we sat round the table, and that girl ate with us. And she ate as much as I did. She wasn't sick. And when I'd finished, I said, I need to go to the train station. Which is the quickest way to get to the train station? She said, I'll show you. And she came along with her mother, and she took me to the train station. First time for a long, long time. The mental health team didn't believe what I'd done. So there's miracles like that. I don't call them miracles. I've just given them an opportunity to try a different way of overcoming the way that they think. That's it.
Yeah, I observed so many changes in people that are similar to the one that you are now describing. How come the official medical world isn't using those tools and techniques more, since they work?
Okay, I'm going to be political here. Is this political? No. Doctors, nurses, I'm sorry, but they've spent many years, 5, 10 years, earning that title of doctor, all that great big certificate that sits behind them that with the title on there. Within a short time, I'm not going to say it's up to the person. It's up to them and their morals. We can teach, you and me, we've got the knowledge to teach people how to do these things very quickly, very, very quickly. We might give them a piece of paper that we handwrite in the office for them to say, you are now a hypnotist, and we sign it. It's a piece of paper, same as the piece of paper behind these people that have studied for 10 years. But the trouble is that they've studied the 10 years and they've gone through a process that say, this is the way that you do things. This is the process that you do things. Da-dump, 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 da-dump. That's the way the brain works. I come along, and I've been to a conference where I've been a guest speaker, and all the people on the stage, on the table at this conference have been professors, doctors, dietitians, you name it. And there's little Phillip with a piece of paper that says, you are a master practitioner of NLP, you are a hypnotist, a master hypnotist, or whatever, or you are a master scuba diver. Oh, is that the same? Probably. But those are my certificates. And of course, are they accredited by a university? No. So therefore it's not recognised. But why do doctors send people to me? Why do doctors come to me with issues and problems for themselves? Yeah? There's lots of doctors that are coming along on courses to learn how to do this. What we do is not a cure-all. Hypnosis is not a cure-all. NLP and other strategies is not a cure-all. It is not magic. And what I say to doctors or medical practitioners or anybody, if you learn what we teach and add it into your toolbox of knowledge and your certificate behind you that says I've done 10 years, add what we can teach you, and you can learn about hypnosis and how to reframe things, repattern things in people. If you learn that, add it in, and then magic happens with the other things that you do. The medication, we all need medication. So there's a place for everything. Doctors, nurses, psychiatrists, learn something else you can put in your portfolio. Dentists, I've got a group of dentists waiting for me to teach them how to use hypnosis for anesthesia, to calm people down, to relax them before they have any tooth extraction or treatment. It's not a cure-all. It isn't standalone. Use it, or with other stuff in your toolbox.
You have been teaching hypnosis and certifying people on how to use hypnosis. And many times people ask me about my different inductions they can use, how to induce trance for themselves or for others. So how can someone discover which induction is best for them?
If it's on an individual basis for self-hypnosis, then what they're going to have to do is to try each one out. It could be a musical track that will send you into a deep, deep trance. I listen to the War of the Worlds, the CDs of that. I'm in a different world. I am with the Martians in England, not America. Oh, yeah, I love the War of the Worlds, but it's just in England where I live. But I am there. I am in a trance. I can see everything. I can see the movement of the Martians, etc. Music could be the trigger to a trance, and that's an induction, or it could be simply counting down from 10 to 1 and going into deep trance. Now, that could be it. Or you might have to relax, do the progressive way of relaxing the muscle sets completely, one muscle set after another, all the way down until you get to that really relaxed state. Now, there's another way. Perhaps you just tense your muscles and let go. Tense your muscles, let go. Tense your muscles. Or how about mindfulness? Is mindfulness a separate entity to hypnosis? No. All that you're doing is just being here in the present and noticing what's happening here now, letting go of anything in the future, anything in the past. That's simply hypnosis, but it's got another title.
There are many titles, by the way, that are similar to hypnosis.
They're all the same. Somebody's entrepreneur has come along and said, oh, hang on, if I modify this and just to add on a little bit of language patterns here, I can call it the hunky-dory way of doing something. And they title it hunky-dory. And then they come along and say, hang on, I can sell courses in this. Yeah, and they sell courses in it. And they become a hunky-dory practitioner. Oh, come on. Use the original, the simplest way of doing something. Learn how the brain works. Go to a trainer. I'm not pumping me, but go to a trainer like you, who people can trust, who've got the knowledge of what they're doing, and learn the proper way. And do it ethically. There's going to be bad people in this world. There's going to be good people in this world. That's life. We've got to put the guards up ourselves against these people. So,
the more people use hypnosis, the better they get. So how much time do you think people need to become experts or proficient enough to help others?
Today?
Immediately?
Learn something simple. Learn something simple. Use it. Get a tool, learn how to use it, and then use that in the appropriate way. Learn how to do a screwdriver, and you can take a screw out of the door. Yeah, but you might need to have extra learning to use a chisel to put a hole in where the lock has got to fit into a door. You need a new skill. So when will you become proficient? Never. It's an ongoing learning. If you've learnt one skill and you're proficient at it, you can call yourself that person. And I advise people to learn it, but only use it in the appropriate way. Don't use a screwdriver to try and make a hole in the wall. It's not the appropriate tool to use it in that way. You've got to learn to use a drill or a chisel and a hammer. Yeah, so I'm sorry if I'm a bit vague, but you learn something, use it.
People many times think that they need first to solve all of their problems in order to be able to help others.
Oh boy, I wish I could solve my problems. I wish I could. Ah, I've got so many problems.
And you can still help others.
Of course you can. Nobody's going to get rid of all their problems. If they say they've got no problems, I'm sorry, they need to go and see a psychiatrist. We've all got problems, and we've just got to know how to control them, how to handle them, how to get round those problems. You, as a person who's got problems, has got probably better ways of being able to guide people into solving their problems. So, yeah, I've got plenty of problems. Sorry. Can you help me?
Yeah, I believe actually that the more we help others, the less we think about our own problems. And sometimes they magically disappear or they become less important.
Yeah, because we've got a mind, instead of being focused on our own problems, we've got other people's problems, and we haven't got time to focus on our own problems. And that is hypnosis. Yeah. But anyway, you know, if you take on a lot of problems, that can lead to problems because you don't want to take on anybody else's problems. One of the things that we learn in NLP and using NLP is that you don't need to know what the problem is to solve a problem, because we believe that the people have got their own tools to solve their own problems. What we are as a hypnotist or as a guide is to be able to get them to realize they have the skills, or where to find those skills to help them overcome the issues, etc. So if somebody comes to me with a problem, I don't want to know what the problem is. If somebody's been raped as a child, I don't want to hear about it, because if I process that information in my head and think about it, there's a memory trace in my head of being raped. Do I want that? No, I don't want it. Thank you very much. I don't want it. Now, some methodologies of helping people believe that you should go back and make them relive the situation again, to be raped again in their mind. No, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. Put in a stronger memory that will overcome, or a stronger memory pathway which will override the old one. Though you'll never erase that memory. There's no drug that's been developed that will erase memories. I put a little caveat there. There are drugs that are available that I believe, I've only read about them, that if somebody's gone through trauma and you applied that drug immediately after that trauma, you can erase or remove that memory. What it does, I don't know. I haven't studied it good enough, but there is that. But there's no way of erasing a memory as such. It's there. You've got to put a stronger one, which will come to the surface, and leave the other one below the surface that doesn't come to consciousness, in other words. Yeah.
When you think about using hypnosis to replace or activate better memories, how vivid must be this new memory or this new emotion or trigger? And how do you create that in another person?
It's a case of working with that person, observing them, watching them, listening to them, feeling them. No, I don't mean physically touching them, but getting to know how they process information. In NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, we learned there's 5 modalities. And you know what they are, because I can't remember them. Yeah, I thought I'd catch you out. There's the kinesthetic, there's the visual, there's the auditory, there's the olfactory, and there's the gustatory. The feelings, the sight, the hearing. Now, we all process information using these modalities, as we call them. So when I'm working with somebody, or when you work with somebody, you look at that person, you work with that person and find out what the modalities that person is processing in. And then you work with that person in that modality. So some people are very visual people. If they're very visual, what do? You use visual language and paint pictures of colour if that's what they want. It might be they want it in black and white or pink. I don't know. But whatever that person wants, you put that into place. If they're auditory, then you use words and sounds to make the difference. If it's kinesthetic, then you use feelings. So you work with each individual person. So you've got to observe them. You've got to look at them. You've got to become aware of them. Listen to the language they use. Watch how they use their hands. Are they indicating where the pain is? A lot of people say, "Oh, I get this feeling of dread." Oh. Well, what are they doing? They're actually telling you, look what they're doing. Watch the person. Or they say, I see something. I realise when I can see it. They're visual people. Or I talk to myself. I talk myself into this certain thing. Auditory. So you use your language and what you want to be able to do in hypnosis, in NLP, just normal conversation. And salesmen, please use this. If you want to increase your sales, use what I'm talking about here. Learn it, because this is what people are. They're visual people, they're auditory people, they're kinesthetic people. Some people like to feel the cloth before they buy a dress. Some people like to smell it. That's a nice smell. I like that. How are you going to sell that microphone? Sell it on the smell. Yeah. But other people like the colour. You sell it on the colour. Other people like the swish of silk. The sound of it. Oh, come on. So, yeah.
I mean, people are different, and they're using different modalities. Many times it happens to me that they have challenges in their own marriage, and their partner is not supporting them into this change that they want to create with hypnosis. So, for example, they want to learn hypnosis, they want to use this on themselves, so they want to help others, but their partner is really skeptical. So how do you help them in this kind of situation?
I don't know. I had this problem. I used to be a computer expert. And you name it, I programmed it. I've solved the issues. I'm a software person. And I work for the manufacturers, and different companies would buy a computer to solve their problems, and I'd have to solve it. So I became this expert that was sent in to solve problems and come up with solutions. Unfortunately, computers are a young man's game, and as you can see, I am grey. I'm too old for that game now, and my brain has stopped working. And I decided my pathway led me down this way of learning NLP, learning hypnosis, learning many different things. And my wife was totally against it. She said, if you're going to learn hypnosis, I'll leave you. She said that to me. So I signed the course. She didn't leave me. But I think that I proved myself to her how good I was, how I could help people. I wasn't manipulative. I wasn't dangerous. And she learnt the true meaning of what hypnosis and how to use language, etc. Not just hypnosis, but language, how to help people with that. And she learnt, how to do it herself. She's not a practitioner. She didn't use it except on me. So... but the first thing is to realise is that you can't use hypnosis to make somebody do something they don't want to do. So if somebody tries to learn hypnosis to influence their partner to do certain things, I'm sorry, you're wasting your money. Don't sign on to the next course because you're wasting your money. You can't make somebody do something they don't want to do, that's against their morals, their culture, their religion, etc. Sorry.
Do you think your wife was afraid that you may change and, for example, leave her or something? Why do you think she was against you learning hypnosis?
I don't know if she wanted to get rid of me. And she used hypnosis to say, don't learn hypnosis. Learn hypnosis to get rid of me. I don't know. But her culture, where she comes from, she's Chinese. Her religion is Taoist Buddhist. She's a medical person, a highly trained nurse. She's brought up in Malaysia. Their belief systems are totally different to UK, and probably that is a combination of everything. Her belief systems, I don't know, but I didn't drum it into her. I didn't try to prove anything against what I was doing, but I was passionate about learning, and she saw that passion, and I think it only made us stronger together. So,
would you recommend hypnosis only for people who want to help others, like practitioners, or could be a great tool also just helping a specific individual, like self-hypnosis?
Both. I think self-hypnosis is a great tool. A great tool. You can use self-hypnosis to relax. I've been going through with certain medical issues, and I use self-hypnosis. I recently had a procedure done, no anesthesia, but it was internal fiddling around with my organ, only one organ, and I use self-hypnosis to take away the pain, to use anesthesia. I used self-hypnosis to do that. When I go to the dentist, I use self-hypnosis to relax myself. I want to relax. I know when I'm tense. I know when my muscles are really tense, and I can feel them pulling and constricting. I'm under stress. I recognize it. What do I use? Self-hypnosis to relax and just to slow down, take control. Is that mindfulness? So use it in self-hypnosis. Yeah, control yourself. And in any industry, hypnosis is a tool to put into your toolbox. I don't mean for the salesman to come out onto the sales floor, see a customer who wants to looks interested in buying a computer to suddenly go into his pocket, take his watch out and say, you feel sleepy. No, you are going to buy this computer. Sleep. And they get them, that's the sale. That come on. But to use language, and all it is learning to use language, how to put language together, that yes, will influence people, but that it'll give them choice. Choice to buy that computer or that computer. A salesman can manipulate somebody to buy the computer that they want them to buy. Yeah. And they're using language to do it. Is it detrimental? Is it dangerous to the customer? Of course it is, because they're paying the money out. Perhaps they didn't want to buy that computer at that particular time or spend so much money, but they've used language. They've influenced people. Learn the proper way to do it, and they'll make more sales, but not by swinging that watch in front of people.
Yet still many people think or perceive hypnosis as a tool for manipulation.
Of course they do. Because it comes from Jungle Book, from Wacky Races or whatever it is, the cartoons on the television. It comes from these stupid films that I watch. I'm just as stupid as anybody else. And I watch them, and there's a memory that goes into my brain. And that's where the beliefs come from, as I said at the beginning. It's, yeah. It will be an influence.
Yeah. So my belief is that hypnosis is a tool that everybody should learn, because as you said, we are all using hypnosis. We are going into one or
different states,
different trances all the time.
Yeah.
And it's such a great tool to be able to go into a specific or desired trance whenever one wants it or needs it.
Yeah, very much so. If you can learn to do that, then you've got choice. If I'm in a situation and I can use my self-hypnosis to put me into a different state to overcome that situation, that's better than just sitting back and allowing nastiness to happen to me. Yeah.
So, Phil, what would be your recommendation to someone who is in a bad state, in a difficult situation right now, maybe watching or listening to our discussion? What would you recommend them?
Realize it first. Realize the situation you're in. I learned this a long time ago, many, many years ago, that to help somebody to overcome a situation that they are in is for them to realize that they're in that situation and that they want to be able to overcome that situation, and then seek the appropriate help to overcome that situation. And don't suffer. Don't stay in that state of suffering. Seek help. If necessary, go to a doctor. I'd advise anybody, if they're in a bad situation, seek help. And the first protocol is a medical doctor. Take their advice. But at the same time, look for alternatives. A lot of drugs are made by pharmacists for one reason: profit. And a lot of drugs are given to patients because it's easy. In the UK, it's probably the same. Here in Slovenia, a doctor has only got 10 minutes to see a patient. In that time, they've got to learn what the problem is, what the symptoms are. They got to try and figure out what the cause is, what the solution is, and the simplest answer is throw a pill down the throat. It's cheap, it's easy, and out you go. Next patient, please. They'll probably throw the same pill down the next person's, and it's probably a placebo anyway. No, I'm being rotten to the doctors. It isn't that. They do a great job. But you should seek help. And I would always advise, if somebody comes to me, I'd always say to them, have you seen your doctor first? And then, have you got permission? Have they said it's okay to do what we want to do? This is in certain circumstances. But do research. Look at what is available out there. Look at the background of that person. If a person has just been awarded a certificate from the XYZ company of companies, what is the worth of their knowledge? Have they got much experience? Have they got a wide amount of experience? Look into the background of somebody. Don't take other people's word for it. Oh, I saw so-and-so and he's able to do this. And do more research. Look at the background of the people. Ask for recommendations. People you can talk to. There is help out there. All you got to do is to look for it. I'm not saying come to me. I'm too old. I'm too tired. I've got too many books to write and read and too many cakes to bake, especially chocolate cakes that I love. So, you know, there are many, many people out there. Many people I've trained, many people that you've trained, many people that have, from other organisations have trained. Just do your research on those people. Seek help. Don't suffer.
Knowing what you know today, Phillip, if you would go back 30, 40 years...
Let's go back a bit more than that. Great.
So what would be your advice to your younger version, your younger self?
When I went to school, I'm full of stories, I'm sorry. When I went to school, I excelled in art, in building things out of metal, building engines, steam engines, woodwork. I was fantastic at technical drawing. I was absolutely fantastic. And I got places in art college. I got places with Rolls Royce as an apprentice. Yeah. I was advised, hypnotized by other people's beliefs, because I finished up with a relatively high score in these subjects that I mentioned, put me in the higher percentile of achievers, that this person would be good to study law, accounts, and business studies. I'm sorry, I hate accounts. I hate law. I hate economics. I studied them. I worked with them all my life. In computing, I had to, because that's the job of computers. Why was I hypnotized to become a business type person when I could have been a technical drawer, a commercial artist? And now that I've learned what I do now, to stand up in front of people, huge crowds of people or individuals, and make changes just with my voice and my examples, I would have said, Don't listen to other people. Follow your dreams. That's what. Yeah, I would not have got into computing.
I love this one. Don't listen to other people. Follow your dreams.
Follow your dreams. Dream the dreams of dreams. We all dream. So follow your dreams of your dreams.
That's an induction already. Phillip,
Copyright Phillip Holt.
Phillip, any last comments, suggestions? Is there a question that I haven't asked you and I should have?
You've asked too many questions already. I'll need a drink of beer after this. My voice is going.
Yeah. So what would be your final comment to our audience?
That really, this word hypnosis is a myth. It's there. You hypnotize everybody. You, the audience, you already hypnotize people. Why do you hypnotize your husbands by, make me a cup of tea now? And there the husband goes off to make a cup of tea, usually. Yeah, it doesn't happen all the time. But hypnosis is everywhere. All that we do to give somebody the title of hypnotist is put a formal way of presenting it, of helping people into that state. You can't make anybody do anything they don't want to do. Sorry.
Phillip Holt, it's a great privilege, honor. Thank you for joining us, and wishing you the very best.
And thank you for inviting me. I've enjoyed it.
Moje ime je Aleksandar Šinigoj in dobrodošli v mojem podcastu oziroma PodcAŠtu, kjer modeliramo strategije odličnosti. Hvaležen za vašo udeležbo, hvaležen za to, da nas spremljate. Odličnost je nekaj, kar se lahko naučite. Odličnost je posledica vaje, treninga, dela in več, ko boste to poslušali, vadili, razmišljali, več je verjetnost, da boste to implementirali v svoje življenje. Sponzor tega podcasta oziroma PodcAŠta je Mastermind Akademija. Ko se prijavite na delavnice Mastermind Akademije, nam napišite, da spremljate, poslušate naš PodcAŠt in kako se vam zdijo vsebine, ki jih za vas pripravljamo.